Okay, so today I wanted to talk about the future of Dokkan and Dragon Ball Legends. And to do so, I wanted to use actual data, cold hard data, not a bunch of opinions. Am I gonna throw my opinion out there? Yes, absolutely. But not just like trying to like grab someone and bring on here and we're just gonna discuss it, which I would love to do as well. But just looking at some actual facts today that there's no denying what we see. So that's what I want to do. I was talking to my buddy Rhyme and we were talking through some things and he showed me something I totally forgot about. So I just want to say this is not me making this so I can be like
the end is near.
Nothing like that, right? Just truly looking at where these games stand right now and what maybe we can expect with the future of things as well. So let's dive in. Google Trends. That's how we're going to do this today because there is no bias. There's no opinion that this was the greatest celebration ever, which granted you could kind of compare the celebrations and break it down to the data and the facts of all the things you get from it. But more specifically is what are people's interests in said celebrations? And we can see that specifically when we dive in. But first, just to kind of show you guys an example, let's look at PlayStation. So obviously what we can see here based on this data is it's comparing it to the last 12 months. And the peak interest in PlayStation was during the launch weekend of the PS5, which definitely makes sense. However, we're not here to look at that. We're here to look at Dokkan and Legends. So let's take a look at Dokkan first. So Dokkan first, what do you guys see there? A peak of interest during the global launch of the Year 5 LR Fusions. That doesn't surprise me at all. Now, what does surprise me is how little interest that we saw from right here, which is the release of LR UI Goku and LR Super Saiyan Blue Evolution Vegeta. Now, as we back this up, we'll probably notice that the JP releases never compare to the global releases because this is specifically looking at the US. Well, what we might see is that the interest, even for what I would argue are two of the most hyped characters to come out of anything Dragon Ball related to Dragon Ball's current day audience, still seemed low. This is the week of course, like saying a Broly, not much hype right there. This is like during Tapion's release right here. You can see the kind of bottom out. Tapion, again, cool character, but overall interest from people just wasn't there. So like the real interest though comes in when we do the past 5 years. Let's see what was peak Dokkan based on what people actually cared about. Again, not what I thought was the best, not what Rhyme, Garesh, True thought was the best, just truly hard actual facts here of what people's interest was. So the peak here, July of 2018, that is what, the Year 3 LRs. So based on these facts right here, in the last 5 years of data, we can actually see the global anniversary. So this right here, ranking it at a 44, is global's first anniversary. Then if we come down here, let's look at JP's second anniversary. So JP's second anniversary actually had a moderate amount of hype. That was the first ever SSJ4s in the game. And then the SSJ4's actual anniversary on the global side being one of the more hype moments actually right now. That is it right there at a 76. Again, peak interest for sure was Year 3. And then actually what we're seeing here is the second peak interest is the Transforming Goku and Frieza when LR Goku and Frieza released. That is really interesting. So the peak moments for Dokkan in terms of its overall people in the US interest was Year 3 and the, what was that, 250 million download celebration. Then as we come over here, this is JP's 4-year celebration. So this is the LR SSJ4s right here. So this is the first ever SSJ4s where they weren't LRs. This is the 120 leads they're about to get in EZA. And then this is the actual release of the LR SSJ4s. And if we go forward, we can see global sort of interest. This is global's interest in the LR SSJ4s. Then if we move forward again, this is the JP release of the 5-year fusions. Then this is the global release of the 5-year fusions. And then, which is sitting at a 74. Again, this is all relative to what we're looking at here. So this is just showing us what is the peak and then comparing it to interest over time. And then when we look at, say, this was, what was this? November 15th. That was actually Heroes on both sides, right? That was the release of Heroes on both sides, the SSJ4 Vegito. And then in comparison, the JP release is a 28 in comparison to the peak 100 of Year 3. So the JP release of the LRUI and SSBE, pretty low compared to, as a matter of fact, about half as much of interest than the which I can see that too. Now, could we compare data with like my YouTube and say, look at other YouTube videos from other YouTubers? We could. And I think truly why I'm looking at this too is I think just the interest in Dokkan is just waning a little bit, because when you compare the gameplay of Dokkan to the gameplay of a lot of apps releasing right now, it doesn't compare. Like, they could definitely do things with this game that would make people be, interested in it again. They just are choosing not to for whatever reason. And I am curious what something like Dokkan is compared to the behemoth that is COD, right? We'll just go search term COD, so that way it includes pretty much, oh yeah. Yeah, that's about what I expected. Do we peek over it at all? We do. Year 3 LRs are able to peak COD, at least at a moment there, man. Holy crap. All right, so what was 2017 CODs? What was 2017's COD? I can't remember. Modern Warfare, though, dude. Yeah, Modern Warfare being one of the biggest releases in COD history. Real talk. Yeah, Cold War barely even touches the release of Modern Warfare. That doesn't surprise me. We're not really here for COD, though, right? Let's get rid of COD, and let's add, the reason why we're actually here is Dragon Ball Legends. Let's just see how Legends stacks up to Dokkan. Or not so much to Dokkan, but just like how it looks in comparison. It's not really, like, it's having its peaks and stuff, but it's not quite having the decline that Dokkan is having. Like, look at, like, we got our mountains with Dokkan, but you can just see like this, it's not like we're not recovering. The real test, truly, and I may make another video like this later in the year for Dokkan specifically, is going to be, how does Global do? How does Global do for the year 6 anniversary? If Global doesn't have a massive, peak back up, even comparable to the LRSJ4s, oh man. And I know that this doesn't matter that, like, it doesn't matter that much. Like, this is, again, just an insight into people's interest into the games and stuff, but it could be painting a future for sure. Let's get rid of Dokkan though. I want to give Legends some spotlight here for just a second, just to kind of compare and just kind of see. So pretty standard here, peak obviously at the actual launch, another peak at matter of fact, year 1 being the ultimate peak for Legends. Year 2 not too far behind, actually. So I'm super interested into what year 3 does. And then right here is what was this, LFUI? And this is LF Gogeta Blue and LF Broly having a little more hype than LFUI by himself. Not really surprising. And then that's probably what, Ultra Goku with a mix of LF Rose as well right there. And also this little mini peak, LF One-Armed Future Gohan getting some respect. You love to see it. So yeah, this is all pretty standard. Now, the interesting thing to do here would be compare Dokkan to, say, Xenoverse and Fighters. Let's just see. I'm very, very curious as to how everything compares up to, like, the, full releases of games. Because these mobile games do tout millions and millions of players, right? Or, well, okay, Legends touts millions of players. Dokkan touts millions of downloads, which we've never had clarification on, but it could just be a bunch of people re-rolling, could be included in those downloads, which, yeah, I mean, we don't know that, but it's definitely a possibility. Okay, so the peak of Fighters and Xenoverse being the ultimate peak in comparison. Wow, that's actually kind of crazy. So Dokkan competes a little bit. Legends not so much, but yeah, dude, peak Fighters and peak Xenoverse. That's nutty, man. That is nutty. Look at, dude, Xenoverse. People will be like, dead game, but look at this. Xenoverse is currently the most, like, searched for topic. By the way, in case for reference, Xenoverse is the yellow, green is Fighters, red is Dokkan, blue is Legends. So when you're looking at this graph right now, just to kind of see, surprisingly, Xenoverse and Fighters are actually the more sort of, like, man. Well, Fighters is kind of low right here towards the end. Of course, they're all low right now. So then the other thing I would be super curious about is, let's just look at actual Dragon Ball, and I'll wrap up this video. So just Dragon Ball as like a series. Yeah. But yo, look at that though, man. Holy crap. That is that right there is the release of DBS Broly. DBS Broly being obviously massive. And then what was this right here? This was Kakarot releasing, so I guess people were caring about Dragon Ball again. And this is Dragon Ball in general, right? So this definitely includes people searching for the video game. This includes, you know, all of that. This was the end of Super right here, which you can see is like peak interest. I was gonna say, I bet you if we go back to the October of the previous year, we're gonna see a massive peak, because that is UI Goku's release right there. So that peak is UI Goku. This is like end of TOP right here. All of this is like the ending of TOP and a bunch of crazy stuff happening. This is DBS. This is actual DBS Broly releasing right here in the States. This is Kakarot, which, you know, kind of makes sense. And yeah, but look at how much the interest in Dragon Ball has dropped as well, because there is no movie and there is no actual like coinciding like anime. It's just, yeah, it's crazy like how much more peak everything is when the series is actually going, right? So here's the hoping one of these days we'll see it come back. So there you go. No YouTubers, no people on Facebook, no people on Twitter, Reddit, whatever, just saying, well, this is the best, or that is the best, or whatever. Just actual data, no opinions on this. My thoughts on everything right now are, I think Legends is fine, man. Legends is in such an infancy state in comparison to something like Dokkan that is truly ancient in the mobile world. A mobile app lasting 6 and now currently it's in its 7th year, working on its 7th year, is nutty, right? Like that is so ancient, and the actual like gameplay of Dokkan has aged, as unfortunate as it is. Like what people are looking for in games nowadays, Dokkan's not really it. And with a lot of people being at home, I think that probably also affects it, because what drew me into Dokkan specifically was how well I could play it while at my job, right? So actually being able to work and also farm events and do all those things on Dokkan. And now that a lot of people are working from home and having more time to probably play other games, the interest in something that's there while you're working isn't like as high. And then Legends has always been that thing where you really need to be able to dedicate time to it to play it, you know, like there are stuff you can farm and skip ticket and all of that, but some of the harder events like the auto just doesn't cut it. And obviously playing PvP, it all takes your actual focus and time. So there's such a huge difference. You have to compare them. They're inevitably going to be compared, but they are so polar opposites of what they are and the audience that they're geared towards, Legends and Dokkan, that it's really hard to compare them. But I thought this would be interesting, and if you guys are like me and care about this kind of stuff, I think it's super interesting to look into and just see like how it really did it matches up so well. You really can see just like where the interest peaks and where it doesn't, and we can match that to a specific event, like a yearly anniversary or whatever, or the release of DBS Broly. And so like it'll be super interesting to see what happens. Like I think Dokkan, I wouldn't go as far as say Dokkan's in its make or break period right now, but I think it's gonna be interesting to see if we continue with these sort of low interest releases and how that ends up affecting the game overall. You know what I mean? And I didn't use my YouTube data, but I can tell you right now, I don't need to look too deeply to know that the interest in watching someone play Dokkan is lower across the board. Not just for me, but when I look at other creators, it's just not anywhere near as high as it was before. Legends obviously pretty similar as well, but Legends is in its pre-anniversary state, which is always a much larger dip because they're saving all of the, you know, events and characters and everything like that for the actual celebration itself. So anyways, there you go. That's all the data on that. The future of these games is fine. You know, it's gonna be good. I don't think any game is in an imminent shutdown for sure. You know what I mean? But I do hope that both games bring a lot of content in the very near future. I hope that the Z update, whatever it is, whatever it might be, is on the horizon. And I hope, and I know a lot of people that play Dokkan aim their sights low for whatever reason for a multi-million-dollar game every single month. But I want them to do something crazy with that. Like, it's just plain and simple. I want them to do something so crazy with that Z update. I want it to blow my mind. I don't want it to be something as simple as link levels. I don't want it to be something as simple as any of this. I want something crazy. Like, this is Dokkan, and I don't mean from an essay animation. I don't mean any of that. Like the gameplay, I'm like, this is Dokkan? Holy crap, this is amazing. So there you go. That's my 2 cents on everything. Y'all have a great day. Keep on keeping on Nanogenix off, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye, guys.